process of documenting my experiments and displaying them for the world has been a rather interesting part of my journey. Although I try to be methodical and informative with my experimental process, I've come to notice many details are rather mundane and unnecessary for the average person. Reviewing notebooks from my past, I am now aware how my detailed documentation, although beneficial for myself in terms of developing skills and knowledge at key points in my life, are rather useless and futile for anyone besides myself. It needs to be interpreted. It needs to be explained. Over time, the minutes, hours, and days concerning myself with minor details and tracking these statistics, I managed to develop the skills and knowledge to continue this process in my head without having to physically take the time to document it down. Through my journey, I've come to see that it's not so much about the details, it's about the process, the experimental process. I'll come back to this later. Alright world, so I'm still unsure how I'm going to shoot this video today. As I've been explaining to you guys on my Twitter and throughout my channel here, is that I've been setting new goals for this year. One of these goals is that I want to be tweeting a lot more, so I want to get in about 10 tweets a day. And along with that, I want to do at least one blog per day. Usually I want to make it informative and part of my experimental process, documenting my coffee experiments, showing you guys my ideas, all the research behind the replanting vegetable experiments or my growth hormone testing journey, all the little things that I'm doing. I want to explain and take you guys through the process, so after several months, after several years, you guys can see the steps, the ideas that are going through my head as I'm experimenting with these new things. Now, as I explained there, I'm not too sure how I'm going to shoot this video today. This blog post, if you guys are interested, I'm either going to voice over the beginning part of the video, so if you guys saw that, then that's what you saw. If not, I really suggest going to check out the blog post I just posted and made live for you guys. It's going to be a day or two now behind, but make sure you guys go check it out. Today's January 9th, and that's when this blog post came up, and it's called My Experimental Process. One thing that I've noticed here, and as I said, I mentioned in this video probably already, again, I just kind of woke up, guys. I'm having my morning coffee. I'm debating what I'm going to do with the video for today, how I'm going to structure it. And this is part of the experimental process as well. YouTube is part of an experiment for me. I've been doing it for about 2 years now. I see how I can post videos, what I say, how I say it, the thumbnails I use, the way I take you guys through my life gets a certain reaction from you guys. It gets a certain outlook. I get different comments depending on how I structure my videos and how I take you guys through my experimental process. And one of those things that I've noticed is that I can go very detailed into some of my experiments, but all around, it's really not all that important. I can tell you guys exactly how much coconut oil I'm putting in my mouth. I can weigh it out, but it's gonna change person to person depending on how big you are as a person, how big your mouth is. You might not need as much, or you might need more coconut oil in your mouth. It's all about experimenting for yourself, taking yourself through that journey to experiment and learn what is most optimal for you. Same thing as I described there with the coffee. I could take you guys through exactly the amount of coffee beans I'm using, the exact amount of water, but that's going to be futile for someone who has a different palate. That this coffee might be disgusting for them, or might be amazing for them, or they might need to use more coffee beans and less water. This is all stuff that you need to figure out for yourself. So my goal, and what I feel my journey is here on YouTube as the Hungarian experiment, is to take you guys through my experimental process. My experimental process is not going to work for every single person out there, but the process of developing skills, developing knowledge is going to make you a more tactful, a more strategic, a more productive human being overall. And how you develop those skills and knowledge, it's a skill and it's a knowledge in itself. So today I thought I would take you guys through how I document my experiments. Last year, 2016, and even in 2015, how I tracked and documented my own goals, my own experiments and everything is changing year by year. I am getting better, I'm getting more productive. I don't need a book to make sure I'm being productive every day. So I thought today I'd take you guys through my little morning there to show you guys how, I'm keeping track of my own coffee experiments. I'm documenting things down, I'm writing down the aroma of the coffee, whether I like it or not, comparing that to the coffee I'm gonna have tomorrow. Then I can really compare and see and taste one coffee next to the other, and I can really start to figure out what coffee I enjoy the most, what has the most effect for me, because I'm taking it day by day. I'm enjoying about 3 coffees a day. I'm documenting how I feel the caffeine is affecting me, the taste of it, how bold it is for myself. Now, I could post all this stuff up to the internet, which I usually do, like my 2016 documented calendar. I'm going to be posting that up for you guys in the next few days here. I'm just running a little behind on my blogs, but although I post that, I can make a whole video about that and talk about that, but it's really futile because it's not going to benefit you. Maybe the actual process of how I document is going to benefit you, but the actual deep notes, the actual changes from day to day, it's really, I don't feel, in my opinion at least, that it's going to benefit you. So as I mentioned there in the beginning of this video and in that blog, that taking you guys through the exact amount of coffee beans I'm using day to day is really futile. The process is what's most important. So today I'm going to take you guys through how I document my life in 2017.
What up, Charlie here, aka the vegan experiment. So thumbs up for him. What we actually know about longevity right now is not a lot, but we know that there are like some subcultures out there that live quite long. For example, you may know the Okinawa in Japan, or there are also some little islands here and there where people also live, were eating their normal amount of calories, and then they had rats that ate 25% less calories that they actually expended. So the rats that ate 25% less.
Can you see me? How's that? Is that better? I think that is better, yes. It's so dark, man. Alright, so documenting your life, documenting my life. Over time, this has been one of the most interesting things for me to learn for myself. And every year, every month even, I feel I'm getting better in my documentation. And as I mentioned there, I'm getting to a certain process, to a certain methodology within my own life that I don't need to track the same things that I did 3 or 4 years ago. I've developed the habit, I've developed the lifestyle, I've developed a technique that I know, and I can keep this going up in my head, and I can keep the factors because it is what I'm most passionate about right now. I am currently documenting things like my coffee experiments for myself, just to keep little notes here and there, but going into exact detail, I don't need to do that as much as I did in the past. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to take you guys through some of my documentation calendars here and kind of show you guys how it's changed over the years and how, 2015, I believe I had 2 of these, plus another calendar, plus all my notes and everything. 2016, I did the same type of documentation because I was going a lot more detailed, but this year now, I only need 1 book because I don't need to be as detailed on certain little factors that I've developed the skills, I've developed the knowledge already. So let me take you guys through here a little rough view of my own documentation so you guys can see and get into your own process, your own methodology, and to track the things that are most important to you and help you excel upon your own journey in life. I think documenting your life is extremely important. And now with the ability to document our lives just by being able to touch 1 or 2 buttons on our phone, or being able to buy cameras that we can now house all over our house, and there's cameras everywhere out in the world. In the future, you're going to be able to see all your life factors. You're going to be able to look up a certain type of food and then see all the points in your life, all the points within the last 4 or 5 years that you've taken that food into your body, where and when, the amounts and all that kind of stuff. So I believe right now we're just in the beginning process of really starting to document our lives, and this is my little process. This is how I've been doing it here. So in 2013, as you see here, there's really not much documented, and I didn't really start documenting till about June. And that's when I just started, documenting my workouts, documenting my body weight. I was starting to really experiment with calories, caloric intake. I was really experimenting and testing this out on my body. So I was seeing for myself if I get the typical amount of food in every day, because I was already eating a very structured amount of food and caloric density daily and even weekly, that I just wanted to see, how's my body weight going to fluctuate with my workouts? How is my body going to fluctuate around my work schedule? Because I was a server. I'm constantly on my feet. And one thing I'm going to mention in future vlogs there is that, this Fitbit here, when I'm serving, I'm getting around 25,000 to 30 steps in on that day. Whereas on rest days, I'm only getting like 12 to 15,000. So being a server or being a waiter is a big factor in my life, and it really affects me. It affects my body weight, it affects my caloric intake, and these are all things that you have to consider on your path. And this is why I feel it's kind of futile for me to show you exactly details and numbers, because the specifics don't really matter for you. It's the process. So 2013 there, it was more developing the lifestyle, learning, and beginning to really start tracking. Again, I tracked other things. I have a whole bunch of notebooks from the past that it's really not important for you guys, but this is my first real starting to document my day to day. So 2013, that's what you got to see there. 2014, again, not much change there. Just documenting my workouts, documenting my body weight, documenting how certain days affected my life. And that's where I started to learn and see how things are really, how factors in your life really start to affect you and your body and your mind. So over 2014 there, I really started to develop the process, really started to see how my week was affecting me in terms of my work schedule and my day-to-day workouts. So I was tracking every single day. And as I got into October there, that's when I really started to experiment around with calories, caloric density, and the exact macro ranges that I was intaking to my body every single day. So for the next 2 to 3 months there, I really started to develop that. That was a skill and a piece of knowledge that I really wanted to learn for myself. How is the amount of calories, how is my situational lifestyle affecting my body weight, affecting my workouts? So that was way back in 2014. Now I can carry that process out of my head. I document a little bit about my body weight, my workouts, but it's not something I'm really focusing on. It's more the experiments and everything else on top of that. So moving on to 2015 here, I really wanted to improve my productivity. I wanted to stay productive every single day. So I developed this little system to ensure that I did stay productive. So as you see here, if I put a square over the day, I worked my ass off. If I put a circle, I accomplished my goals, but I didn't work my ass off. And then if there was nothing, I wasn't too proud of these days. So as you see there, having a system that made sure I was staying on top of myself, and then I could go look back. So if I got sick for a couple days or a week or so, it's really demotivating. You're like, man, I have to get back into this. But if you go back and you look upon your journey, you will see that, the month before that, I really grinded it out. So it's not that big of a deal if, I'm missing a couple days out of my life, as long as I'm staying productive on those days as well and accomplishing my other goals. So that is one thing over 2015. I really wanted to increase my productivity. Now, I don't need to keep one of these calendars. I don't need to make sure I'm staying on top of my Instagram, that I'm staying on top of my YouTube comments and all those things, because it's just a part of my life now. It's a daily habit. It's a factor of my life that I wake up and I do. So I don't need to record and document, because this would actually hold me back from my day. Taking all these detailed notes, writing all this stuff down is just gonna take up time where I don't need to develop that skill anymore. It's part of me, it's part of my life. So 2015, as I mentioned there, was a really big, make sure you're being productive here. As you can see here, as I got towards the end of 2015, look at the squares. Almost every day was a square. And after a year of doing this, every day is a square now, and I don't need to keep track of it. I don't need to document it. So 2015 was a really big year for me for tracking and increasing my productivity. On top of that, because as you saw there, each of my days was quite filled out. I didn't want to make it too compact, too overwhelming for myself. So along with that, I kept a monthly calendar. So this way I could keep track of my body weight, of my workouts, and any other little factors or experiments that I'm doing and implementing into my day-to-day life. So after a week, after a month, and even being able to go back over these months, I can see all that progress. I can see all that within one little book here. So over 2015, I had 2 documentation books. I made sure I was productive and I stayed on top of my workouts. I stayed on top of my body weight and my experiments. This was my first year on YouTube. So I really, as I said there, I wanted to make sure I was being productive and I was tracking and documenting and experimenting as best as I could and as informatively as I could. So if you guys are interested, this is not up for you guys because, again, this is my own notes. This is my own detail. It's really not going to help you guys along, but watching the process hopefully will. Now this book, because it is documenting my caloric intake, it is documenting my workouts, I posted this whole book up every single month onto my blog at the end of 2015. So 2015 was developing the lifestyle, developing the habits, and the process of documenting things down. Over 2016, I had 3 books because I was trying to continue that experimental process and make it a way that is easy to display and document for you guys. So again, I had my productivity calendar here with all the little squares and circles. As you can see here, like, this is when I was really on top of myself. At 2016, a year into YouTube, a year into finally being passionate and waking up every day and doing the things that I enjoy in life, really kept me on my game. As you can see here, I started starring things because every day was just so productive. It was just so productive that I was just on top of myself. And as you can see here, sick, but I'm still being productive as possible. So as you can see here, as I got through, I started to document and track less. I started to question, too busy to track and document. I did all this stuff over those 4 or 5 days, but is it really necessary to be keeping this book anymore if I'm being productive? So as you can see here, I started to fade out, like too productive to track, way too many things going on with videos, work, gym, and prep and along with my YouTube videos that I am documenting these type of things in a different way now. I can go back and watch through my videos and I can see how my experimental process changed over 2016. So I don't really need this book anymore because I'm documenting it in other ways and I've developed the skills and habits. So after August there, once August started up, I don't think I used my book anymore at all. Yeah. I don't think I used it once for the rest of 2016 because I developed the habit, I developed the skills. I didn't need a book to tell me and make sure I was being productive every day. I woke up, I continued the lifestyle, I developed the habits, and it is a part of me now. So along with that, I got the 2016 monthly calendar, which again was more or less for documenting and tracking my body weight, my workouts, and my experiments here and there. So as you can see, I got the months changing, what they were, and how I went through that. Again, I haven't documented this monthly calendar yet. I will have that up for you guys in the next few days or so here, but this is basically how I tracked and documented my workout. And now I'm gonna show you guys over 2017 how I'm condensing this book, and even this calendar all down into one calendar here. As I mentioned there, over 2016, I was really being so productive that I didn't need a calendar anymore. But I needed a way to track and document all the accomplishments I was doing, all the things that were happening in my overall life so I could really understand that better. So this is my my accomplishment calendar, I guess you could say. This is another productivity calendar, I like to call it for myself. So here I have like little meetings I have with people. I also have every single video that I uploaded. So I can see, and I can take a quick look over January and I can see, that was quite a productive month. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 videos over January. So as you see here, February, the beautiful one left me for a trip and vacation for a week. As you can see here, I had a whole bunch of meetings and stuff over February, and I didn't get as much documented. I didn't get as much videos up in that month. But this is how things go for me, Over March, I was doggy sitting Murphy, so I wasn't able to, as you see here, not as many videos over the next couple weeks because I was busy. I had things going on. But at least I can see that now. And if I'm interested for myself, I can go and check my productivity calendar. I can go check this calendar and I can see what may have held me back during those couple weeks. Oh, it was doggy sitting Murphy possibly, or I had other factors going on in my life, or stuff was going on. Either way, this calendar was very beneficial for me over 2016 because every single day I put this in front of my bathroom and I saw, holy shit, this month isn't going as planned. This month I'm not pumping out the videos like I would want to. And then July comes around, boom, crazy month. So this calendar was very beneficial for keeping on top of my accomplishments. Although I was being very productive, I wanted to make sure I was still creating, that I was still providing content, which over 2016 I described in my experimental process as that was something very interesting for me, and I had to develop that skill. So over 2016, I feel I hashed those skills and that knowledge out really well, and now I've developed it all down into one calendar here. The beautiful one got this book for me. I'm loving it so far. The Master Plan for 2017. Now, if I got a book like this in 2014, I probably wouldn't have taken full optimized use of it. But now I know how to track my life. I know what I want to track. I know what I want to discuss and what I want to say and what I want to look back at myself over a year or 3 or 4 years from now, because I've done this for so long. I know what I want to see for myself. I know what I want to look back at. So this book is amazing because it has all the months if I really want it. It also has a full month calendar, so I'm using this as my accomplishment calendar for documenting and tracking my videos. I'm also using it for my body weight as well as my workouts. I'm also going to keep little notes here and there about, what I'm doing. I went up to Ottawa, so that kind of affected my productivity in terms of videos. It's a factor in my life. It's something that I wanted to do. I wanted to go see my family, but at least I know there that is why I didn't go to the gym for those 2 days. That is why my body weight might have fluctuated, because I was up in Ottawa for Christmas. So these are all things that I find interesting and to document for myself. Along with that, it also has these days. I haven't fully taken advantage of this yet, as you guys saw in this video. I kind of just started this week because, as I mentioned, I don't really need a productivity calendar anymore. I don't need something to make sure I'm productive, but I want a way to document my experiments. For instance, the coffee experiment. So I can go look back now at the Pacific Spirit Roast if I drink it 3 or 4 days from now, and I can say, I wasn't really a big fan of it. It tasted light, even though it's supposed to be like a bold, dark, full-bodied coffee. So maybe I need to add a little bit. I only used up to the line in terms of coffee beans for myself. Maybe I'm going to put some more coffee beans in there a few days from now when I experiment with this coffee again. And I'm going to possibly use a little bit less water or the same amount of water. And I'm going to see if that changes my rating of it, if it changes whether I find it a little light or a little weak, because it could have been my process. It could have been the brewing process and some factors that I affected it. So this is more for myself here. I'm not going to show this to you guys because, as I said there, it's really not going to benefit you guys to know how the aroma and the taste of different coffee beans and the amounts I use matters for you guys. It's the process. It's the documentation of it. And that is what I feel is important. So I don't really know what else to say here. Document your life. Track everything. It's honestly, when you go to look back at the skills and the knowledge you've developed and how much you've changed over just 1 year because you stayed up on top of yourself, you stayed productive, will honestly, I believe, benefit you for the rest of your life. Developing the skills and knowledge to develop skills and knowledge is going to excel you upon your own path and your own journey in life and get you upon your life task. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you like what you saw here, taking you guys through a little bit of my morning, my coffee experiments, and how I document and track my life. If you guys like what you saw here, make sure you go hit that like button and of course, leave me a comment. I am the Hungarian Experiment. Oh yes, and real quick here, I'm still experimenting and learning how to document and track my videos. Keep organized, keep in control of all my pictures, all my videos, and hard drives are extremely important for that. Get yourself a hard drive, especially if you are documenting and tracking your life. There's so much information out there, so much you're going to keep track that you might not even show the world on your YouTube channel or however you are documenting your life and the factors that you want to show and display. But these things are going to be so beneficial to you. Get a hard drive. This is something that I learned over the last few months here. These are important as hell.